Hello everybody and welcome. As you may have seen on Twitter, there is a Paradox announcement show coming up on March 6th, 6 PM CET. March 6th, by the way, happens to be my birthday. Good birthday present for me. I'm getting some new game announcements and some new DLC announcements from Paradox. But luckily for you guys, I already know what they're going to announce. So I'm going to tell you every single game and every single DLC that Paradox is going to announce. First off, let's take a look at the video that they put out. Big news, Stellaris, whatever the Surviving the Abyss is called, CK, cities, Surviving the Apocalypse and cities, and EU, and probably Hoi, and Prisoners, and EU, and Stellaris again. And a whole bunch of different things, okay? But now, the show is in, what was that, like 8 days? No, 6 days away, right? And you have to wait until 6 PM CET, so don't do that. Just watch this video. And I know what Paradox will reveal, and I shall now lay it out for you. So they have a website that tells you some of the various things they're going to do. And one of the things they say is this: Colossal Orders returns, the genre-defining studio behind global smash hit Cities. Skylines will reveal its newest incredible game. And this is going to be Cities 2. They're running it on a newer, faster engine. There's a heavier focus on your ability to terraform, and there's some more sim-like stuff around citizens specifically. So there's going to be more named citizens that you can track, and your mayor is going to be a citizen in the game, that kind of stuff. And yeah, the damn bird, Chirpy, is going to be all over the place. That's the new game that's coming from Colossal Order. They'll announce on March 6th. Then there's another game coming out of Harebrained Studios. Master creators of Cyberpunk Classic Shadowrun and Hulking Mech Warfare Battletech are coming back with a new game. And that new game is going to be Shadowrun Dragonfall 2. Now I'm excited about this because Shadowrun Dragonfall, one of my favorite CRPGs, in the top 10 at least. It's pretty good. There's going to be some of the original characters, some new. The storyline, not hugely connected to the original Dragonfall. There is going to be save importing though. Now this doesn't have a massive impact on the gameplay, but it just does a lot of little kind of background stuff, some flavor stuff. So if you have got a Shadowrun Dragonfall 1 save file from the end of the game, you are able to import that in and change how the game works. Otherwise, yeah, it's Shadowrun more or less as you know it. So the next new game is a little bit more complicated. So this is the one coming from Paradox Tectonic, right? And Paradox Tectonic is the one based over in the US, in California. And they are pushing boundaries. Life simulator visionary Rod Humble, will get to him, and Paradox Tectonic are itching to unveil its new groundbreaking project. Now, you might think that we know almost nothing about this project, right? But you would be wrong, because there exists this thing called the Wayback Machine. And if you go to career.paradoxplaza.com/jobs, you'll find that there are no job listings for Paradox Tectonic. But there were at various points during 2022. So if you were completely psychotic, you could go to all of these different dates, read all of those job listings, and pick out the bits that might be interesting to tell us about that new game. Well, don't worry, your YouTuber is psychotic, because I've done this. I've looked at every single job listing from 2021 and 2022 that was ever listed on the Paradox job page, which was saved on the Wayback Machine, in order to allow me to piece together some information about what this new game might be. And as you can see, they're hiring people who are doing motion capture, they're doing character modeling and skin meshes. We also can see here that what they're making is likely to be a video game, although only 1 out of the 4 does mention that. We can also see that they're using terrain, scripting, lighting, rendering, all this kind of stuff, as well as making it within Unity. And finally, and perhaps most interestingly, you have to be experienced developing for console. So here's what we know for certain about the game. It's going to have Rod Humble at its head. I asked a private investigator to collect this little bit of information about Rod. There he is on the right. Rod made Second Life, or at least was involved in making Second Life in all kinds of things, as well as working on The Sims. So essentially, what this new game is going to be is a console-first Sims-like. It's going to be totally related to the engine, to the mainline Paradox games, and it will get a 72% on Metacritic 6 days exactly after it releases. That's what's going to be coming out of Paradox Tectonic. So, next, a few more announcements they mentioned. Paradox is going to be doing a host of news from the greatest of the Paradox family, with reveals from Crusader Kings, Europa Universalis, Paradox Arc, and more. So EU4 is going to get a DLC announcement. Some people are thinking there's going to be EU5 announced. It's not going to be announced for certain. There is going to be the second last ever Paradox DLC, that they won't actually announce that it's the second last ever Paradox DLC in the show. This is in fact going to be the second last DLC for EU4. It's going to be called Behemoth. Now they're calling it this because they made a DLC called Leviathan, which is a reference to, is it Hobbes' book, Leviathan, on politics and state, but then they forgot to include any kind of political changes in the Leviathan DLC. So they're making Behemoth, and this is essentially going to integrate lots of those government changes that linguistically would have made sense a lot more to be in Leviathan. And then there's the CK3 DLC and the roadmap. As we know, CK3 has been out for 3 years now, and they have essentially added a 3D court and done very little else with it. So instead, they're going to do a DLC this time, right? Because, you know, people have been hungering for mechanical changes to DLC. What they're going to do instead is add a bunch of new events that once you've seen them once, you've essentially seen them 1,000 times, and some flavor to some very specific parts of the world. No new systems coming in this DLC. They will, however, announce a roadmap that talks about another DLC coming in 2023, which will have broad, sweeping mechanical changes. Unfortunately, that DLC will not release in 2023. Stardeus, the other game, is going to be, their release date is announced. It's currently in early access. The full release date will be July 26th, 2023. And Surviving the Abyss, more recently launched into early access, is going to get its first major updates date. They're adding in new oxygen management tools, as well as events around this guy called Fontaine, who's causing problems in the underwater city. I don't know. I haven't played it. And without further ado, of course, my source is that I made it the fuck up. Thanks for watching. Bye.